I'd like to introduce you to Heidy Rodríguez. She's representing Guatemala and she's an advocate for women's rights.
Hola todos. Hello everyone. My name is Heidy Rodríguez. Thank you, Swani, for having me on today and having me connect with your students. And I'm so happy that we are able to connect over our ancestry and where we're from, and so grateful to be part of this amazing part of America, which is Centro America. My family is from Guatemala, and I was born in Los Angeles, born and raised Koreatown most of my life. Well, you guys are in San Bernardino, but I'm from LA, and now I live in downtown in Chavez Ravine, and I am a development manager at East Los Angeles Women's Center. I also went to Cal State. I went to Cal State Long Beach, and I majored in international studies. You know, there's a sense of pride that was always ingrained in me of just being a daughter of Guatemalan immigrants and always going back, eating the foods, having the art in my house. You know, we all have those calendars. If you're Guatemalan or even if you're from El Salvador, your tia always brings back the cheese and the loroco, the chipilín, the queso, the crema, and then the pan dulce is so good. You can't have your cafecito without your pan dulce. These are all beautiful things that are part of who I am. And as we discuss today and as we celebrate Independence Day, which is something that is so big in our Central American countries, people go out to the streets, they march, they're happy. It's a happy time where we celebrate liberty from Spaniard rule. But what does independence really mean to me? To me, independence means the liberty of choice and having true freedom to decide what is best for you. And this choice, this liberty, is free of any guilt or shame or el famoso que dirán. So, in a nutshell, that's what independence means to me. It's not so much something that the government gives you. Independence is not something that is given to you. If it's given to you, then it's not real independence, because independence is in your mind, it's in your thoughts, and it's in essentially your soul. I'm a Scorpio, so I get deep real quick. As I mentioned, I am Chapina. I am Guatemalan. First time I ever went to Guatemala, I must have been like 10 months, and then I went every year. And then when I was in college, I decided to go learn Quiche, Mayan Quiche. It was very, very hard language. I didn't learn it. And I learned so much about myself and who I am. And then the following year, I lived in Guatemala. I lived in Quetzaltenango, which is the second biggest city. And I got to learn so much about myself, about my people, about who I am, and what my role is as a gringa chapina, because unfortunately that's what I am, but it's also a privilege that I carry, and that I carry with so much responsibility for my people of Guatemala, and also a responsibility to teach others about what being a Guatemalan American woman is. And it's very intricate, and as you know, we are not all one-sided. We're all multidimensional, and we can't be defined as solely one thing. So, like I mentioned, I'm very proud my family's from Tacisco. My maternal side is from Tacisco, Santa Rosa, which is on the Pacific coast of Guatemala. My dad is from Escuintla, but his family, his maternal side is from Chiquimula, which is El Occidente. And it's close also to the border of El Salvador. And in Tacisco, where there's two things that we're proud of in Tacisco: la crema y el queso, because we're a dairy town, and we're also proud of being the birthplace of Juan Jose Arevalo. Juan Jose Arevalo is a president of Guatemala that really reformed the country, and although he didn't believe in communism, he actually banned it. He is what he calls a spiritual socialist. So he believed that he was an idealist, and I guess that's why I like him, because I'm an idealist. And if you're familiar with EAGS, which EAGS is the general hospital system of Guatemala, that now in this day, it's not the best medical care, but in the time of its inception, back in the 40s, 50s, it was a great benefit for the people of Guatemala. And that was enacted when Juan Jose Arevalo was the president. And we owe a lot of our social reforms and systems to his presidency. And he believed in something called spiritual socialism, which he believed was that we owe people as a government, because he was the president, he owed people liberty of spirituality, where their minds had to be free in order for them to be free from poverty and anything else. It's a very interesting school of thought. If you are into political science and want to learn a little more about different schools of thought of Guatemala, definitely Arevalismo is one, which it's in Spanish, Arevalismo. In English, it's spiritual socialism. And so those are two things, our two call to fames in Tacisco. And Escuintla, we're known for La Ciudad de las Palmeras, is a very hot port town. In the industrial revolution of Guatemala was at the beginning of the century, and all through, I guess, the 50s, sugarcane still is a big industry in the Escuintla region, as is cattle, ganado, aka ganado, and it's also a port city. So 30 minutes away is El Puerto San Jose, which is many of the business goes on there. So that's a little bit of that. And like I mentioned, I lived in Guate when I was right out of college. I lived in Quetzaltenango and Xela. So I got to see a lot of Guatemala riding in a camioneta. I definitely refuse to call camionetas chicken buses. That is something that was imposed on us by some gringo tourist, because if you go to Guatemala, people on their everyday life don't say, I'm going on a chicken bus. We say, nos vamos a subir a la camioneta. So now, because of gringos and tourists, and people are now calling them chicken buses, it's like a cool thing to call chicken buses, but it's la camioneta. So when I was there, I got to travel in the camioneta from Quetzaltenango to Tacisco, and I got to see all these routes. And contrary to popular belief, who said that it was dangerous, everyday people travel, and yes, it is dangerous, but many things in life are dangerous. So I just decided not to live in fear, and I did it. I got to see a lot of different sides of Guate. And if you ever have the opportunity to be in Guatemala, I would say definitely visit the beaches. We have volcanic sand. Where I'm from, our closest beach is Monterrico. If you want to see a little bit of the Caribbean, then definitely go to Puerto Barrios and go to Izabal. And one of the places to go is Tikal. Really experience the legacy of our Mayan indigenous folks. That will really give you an amazing sense of self and purpose. To see our people really build these amazing cities, and that's our legacy. And I know that we are going to rebuild our city, and we're going to rebuild Guatemala to what it's meant to be. It's just, for so long, our people have been mistreated. There's been no justice. There's poverty. There's so many events that have trickled from the US invasion, and a lot of the policies that are in place are really antiquated, and unfortunately we struggle with the mindset of this colonialist and racist mindset, but hopefully, and I have faith that it will be terminated soon, hopefully. Something I'm really proud of Guatemalan culture is definitely the art. When we speak about art, we think about fine art and Europeans and fancy Monet, or this like very just Western perspective of art. But if you see this intricacy of colors and weaving, this is only one small portion of the art of Guatemala. Mayan weavers are, to me, the best artists in the world, and so are the woodworkers and the musicians, the marimberos, and people that we don't really give credit to in Guatemala, who are really the gatekeepers of our culture. You're Guatemalan if you have some sort of Guatemalan napkin or manta for your tortillas in your house. So we owe that to the artists and the weavers, and most of them are women who pass this tradition on. And so that's something that I'm really proud of, and I think it's something that we need to honor more and more with what we do and what we say. And I'm really also proud of the kitchen, the cooking. Again, much like this tapestry, like we're so intricate when it comes to our cooking. All the flavors for the tamales have like 30 different flavors. Our tortillas hechas a mano, our queso, all these beautiful meals that just signify love. So I think I spoke too long, but I hope that you were able to feel a part of you in this video, and also I hope you were able to learn something. And shout out to all my other Centroamericanos. I love El Salvador. There are primos, the cumbias, the pupusas, the nicaragüenses, the gallo pinto, the catrachos and the punta in Costa Rica, the ticos, pura vida. So shout out to all my Central American brothers and sisters, and I hope that you all have a good night. Take care. So a few months ago, I was part of a publication called the Latinx Poetry Project by Algeria Publishing. You may follow them at Algeria Magazine on Instagram. And this is a poetic anthology with over 45 new Latinx poets from diverse backgrounds. And it includes my first published poem called El Molino y el Sueño. This poem was inspired by the small town of where my family is from, or my mom is from, and it was inspired by her last day being in her town before parting her way and coming to America. So here it goes. El Molino y el Sueño. El día se presenta como un caballero en su fino semental, hermoso y lleno de futuras memorias, promesas y flores. El molino amanece con sus fieles al maíz en su ritual mañanero, mientras yo desperté a despedirme de la vida que conocí. El sueño llegó a mi vida. Decidí ir por aquello lo desconocido, aquello lo estremecedor, aquello que ya existió. El día de mi decisión, Armagedón, la batalla final entre lo que fue y será. La tierra que sintió mi primer palpitar, la que me vio florecer, el atardecer que se llevó consigo mi primer amor, ilusión, aquella feria patronal que sintió mis pasos, mi gozo y amor a la vida, a la cual esperaba como una niña a su padre trabajador. Y así fue, como el censotle saluda el alba, me desperté a dar un canto de gloria, donde me despido del molino y a seguir mi sueño.